Good evening, all of you.
Good evening.
Today is the 55th session of the Golden Charcha. I request Vishnu Tulsianji to say something to start our session.
Good evening to everyone. The objective of Golden Chacha has already been communicated to all of you. And I'm also very much thankful to the participants who are joining either by way of speaking or by way of listening to the speakers. Both, both is important for the purpose of enhancing the knowledge. Because the speaker who speaks, he also study. Then he come and speak. And those who are learning, they also come to us prepared. I have to learn something. I have to learn something. So this also bilateral enhancement of the knowledge. It's very good. One thing I just wanted to say that we are going to host one program on Ma Tujhe Salam. 1 hour for the nation and salute to our motherland. For that purpose, we have the program in GD Birla Sabhagar on 23rd of January, being the birthday of 179th birthday of our own hero Netaji Subhas. And we are also entering the 77th Republic Day of this country. So we are part of nation building, it is said. And we are also the financial army, which I speak always. We are the financial army because one army fight at the border, and we are fighting inside the economy. And we are the first army to protect our economy from the outside attacks, such like recently America has imposed 500% tariff to us. Government will come to every academic people to guide them what to do. So we think we are the first army to suggest and to take care of this problem. So we are trying to demonstrate these devotions before the public, and hence the play is there, in which we are also having one drill. Energy Commando is also coming. We have the dance, we have the drama, we have the song, we have the folk dance, and also we have taken since 1952 to till date, all years of the birthplace of the Eastern India, we are 73 years crossed. So all 73 peoples will be there in a video mode. So we are trying to encompass entire region from each and every places, so that we can demonstrate ourselves as an institute as a whole. This we are doing. So I request everyone must join without fail. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring your children. So it is open for everyone. A small token of money is there as a token of commitment of 200 rupees is nothing. So don't miss it. And if you want to contribute anything in this program, please come. Don't miss it. Well, this is a historical event. It never happened in India, never happened in ICI in the history of India. So Eastern India is going to bring one more such types of event to all of you. Second request is that anyone who has missed any kit in the Golden Jubilee Conference, it is being distributed on the ground floor of this institute, Arsala Street. So please collect and please convey to your friend circle. If they have missed, they will collect from you.
Okay.
So my commitment is that everyone should take this benefit. So this is chairman's call, not to miss anyone. So if somebody is
They need
facing
to
any
bring
problem,
the coupon or something because
coupon,
one of our member was asking me
Ah.
about it.
Coupon is there, please bring the coupon. Otherwise, bring
Okay.
some evidence and take it note by the fourth floor, Amit Paul. They will issue the fresh token.
Okay.
But don't miss it. It is your right. You must take it. And my commitment that it should reach to each and every person. So please don't, please communicate to your friend circle in group so nobody get missed. And thank you so much, Impuji, for giving this opportunity. Thanks a lot. Now, ball is in your hand to go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishnu Tulsianji, Chairman, our AIRC Chairman. And today is the 55th session of the Golden Charcha. Golden Charcha means एक चर्चा जिसपे अपने जो चर्चा करते हैं उसको सोने के साथ तुलना करते हैं. अपने जीवन में सोने का जो महत्वपूर्ण है, इंपॉर्टेंस है, उसी तरह आज जो चर्चा करते हैं अपने ये 55वां चर्चा है अपना. इस चर्चे में जो बातें होती है, जो अपने सीखते हैं, जो स्पीकर हमें बताते हैं, जो स्पेशल एड्रेस मिलता है, तो उससे जो शब्द सुनते हैं, जो अपने को अनुभव मिलता है, जो अपने को लेसन मिलता है, वो सोने के समान तुलना की जाती है. इसीलिए इसका नाम है गोल्डन चर्चा. तो आज की स्पेशल एड्रेस करेंगी श्रुति गोयंका जी एंड स्पीकर है श्रावणी भट्टाचार्य जी. टुडेज टॉपिक इज कोड ऑफ एथिक्स रिसेंटली चेंज बाय आईसीआई, जिसमें की टेकअवेज जिसका होगा enhance flexibility in advertising and modern professional service, strict audit independence norms aligned with the global standards. तो मैं श्रुति गोयनका जी को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा आज का स्पेशल एड्रेस के लिए. ओवर टू श्रुति जी.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Shruti Goenka, a chartered accountant and company secretary, and currently working with PwC as a manager. So, at the outset, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the chairman, CA Vishnu Tulsian, and also other esteemed council members for taking this initiative to organize such an informative and enriching learning session for the members, the Golden Charcha. So, Golden Charcha. The Golden Charcha for today is Code of Ethics, recent changes by ICI. So, before beginning, let's understand what is Code of Ethics. So, if we break it down, code refers to a set of written rules or instructions that a particular group of people are expected to follow. And what is ethics? Ethics are moral principles that guide us in distinguishing between what is right and what is wrong. So, therefore, code of ethics can be understood as a set of written instructions that direct us on how we should behave morally and responsibly. It is basically a professional guidebook, we can say. And every profession has its own guidebook, like for doctors, for teachers, they have their own code of ethics. Okay. So, if and it basically serves as a framework that enables that professional to act, say, honestly, responsibly, and in the best interest of the profession, basically, so as to maintain trust with the clients and other stakeholders and the society at large, and also to prevent any misuse of fame, power, money, influence, etc. So, similarly, for us chartered accountants, the ICI has prescribed a code of ethics applicable to all members, whether they are in practice or in service. So, these rules they ensure compliance with the 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics, which are integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. So recently, the ICI Central Council approved the revised 13th edition of the Code of Ethics, and it aligned it with the 2024 ISBA code. So I would give some key highlights of these revised codes here. So some of the key highlights include like permitting CA firms and members to advertise their services within prescribed limits, then allowing them maintenance of individual websites, enabling collaboration with overseas entities, expansion of permitted services to include forensic and AI related services. As we know that forensic and AI have reached like heights at this point of time. So it is very essential that this kind of step be taken by the ICI, and it is a very welcoming step. So apart from that, ICI has also mandated receipt of audit fees in digital or banking channels. So these were a few highlights that I talked about. And these revised code of ethics will be effective from 1st April 2026. And our speaker, CA Shravani Bhattacharya, will now take us through these changes in detail and also explain their implications on our existing professional practices. So thank you so much, and over to the speaker.
थैंक यू श्रुति जी. आपने श्रावणी दी का काफी चीज एड्रेस कर लिया, काफी क्लेरिफिकेशन दे दिया ऑलरेडी. तो today's speaker is Shravani Bhattacharya. Sri Shravani Bhattacharya is a practicing chartered accountant. She has done her Master in Commerce from Calcutta University and is a fellow member of ICI. CA Shravani Bhattacharya is a qualified DISA from ICI and has completed the certificate course on concurrent audit of bank from ICI. She has also qualified level 1 of the certificate course on AI from ICI. She is at present the partner of AG Banerjee and Company. She is the 3rd generation chartered accountant, carrying forwarded the legacy of her grandfather, father, and uncle in the professional field. Her main area of practice are statutory audit, internal audit, concurrent audit of bank and direct taxes. Srimati Bhattacharya is at present the convener of South Calcutta CA Study Circle of AIRC of ICAI and special invited to the Study Circle Coordination Committee of AIRC. So I request to Shravani Bhattacharya ji to take our today's session. Over to Shravani ji.
A very good evening to all my
Good evening.
colleagues, Chimpu,
Good
CA
evening.
Vishnu Kumar Tulsian ji, our chairman, Chimpu ji, Shruti ji, and also all our attendees who are here with us to share the evening. And we will be doing some deliberations on the recent changes. Shruti ji has already highlighted the key points. So I will be just it is also since it has been given by the ICAI and it will be starting from 1st April 2026. So now we will just have a, it's a charcha stage. As we say, it is a golden charcha. So we will be discussing it and some implication, some comparison of the old and the new, what we can do, what are the things that we will be doing in this 1 hour. So like that, let me start with it. As we go on, we will do it, the more deliberations will be done. So the council has approved these amendments to the Code of Ethics notified by the Ethical Standard Boards and it will take effect from 1st April 2026. And it's the main objective is the global competitiveness, transparency, and professional relevance of Indian CA firms. So now, what are the main key confirmations? It is the professional advertising and digital presence. So we now have some more flexibility in professional advertising and we also can have some digital presence. So it is the controlled and principled advertising is now permitted, including firm websites and expanded professional informations, digital promotions of non-exclusive, non-audit services, use of modern communication tools such as push notifications subject to dignity, truthfulness, and non-solicitation norms. So these are very important. We still have that non-solicitation norms. Stronger auditor independence framework. Independence provisions have been tightened, especially for listed entities, and it will be enhanced safeguards against self-interest and familiarity threats, clearer restrictions on non-assurance service to the audit clients. We have to be more aligned with ISBA code, as already Shruti ji said. So the amendments substantially converge with the ISBA code of ethics, ensuring what it ensures: global acceptability of the Indian CA firms, easier participation in cross-border audits and international networks. And also there is another change. It is expanded NOCLAR, NOCLAR provisions. NOCLAR requirements have been strengthened more for the listed entities, reinforcing public interest responsibility, clear escalation and response mechanism for non-compliance. Global networking and branding clarity, new guidelines which addresses use of global network names, transparency in firm structure and responsibility, avoidance of misleading international affiliation claims. So these are the major areas where the changes are going to happen. So what is the overall impact of these? The overall impact is the amendments represents a paradigm shift from restrictive visibility norms to a principle-based, globally aligned ethical framework, while preserving ICAI's core values of independence, integrity, and public interest. So these are the actual things which we will experience from 1st April 2026. Now, if we compare the new ones with the old, which we already have. So what is it that is there in the 12th edition and what will come in the 13th edition? So mainly, what was the philosophy of the approach? Philosophy was, in the old code of ethics, it was more conservative, restriction-based framework. And now in the 13th edition, it will be principle-based, globally aligned framework. Then what is the advertising by the CA firms in that field? What we are getting? We are getting generally prohibited. It was very limited. And generally it was prohibited for us. But now from 1st April 2026, professional advertising is permitted, subject to dignity, truthfulness, non-solicitation. Non-solicitation clause is still there. Now, what about digital marketing? For digital marketing, it was restricted. Promotional activity was discouraged. Now it is permitted digital promotion with ethical boundaries. Ethical boundaries we have to maintain. We always have to be maintaining the ethics. That we always have to remember. Chimpuji, as you were saying, we have to be ethical. So now then, what about our farm websites? In the old code of ethics, it was allowed with limited static informations. Only static informations we could provide. But now in the 13th edition, it is expanded website content allowed, including services, profiles, credentials that we will be able to give in our website. Okay, push notifications, digital outreach. In the old one, not specifically permitted, treated as solicitation, these were, but now in the non-exclusive audit or the non-audit services, it is permitted. Now this I will elaborate a bit. What is permitted, non-exclusive and non-audit services? Permitted digital promotion within ethical boundaries of allowed CA firms to use digital platforms for professional visibility and information sharing, provided such promotion is truthful, dignified, non-solicitative, transparent, and does not impair independence or public interest. Now, what is non-exclusive? Non-audit services. These are the non-statutory audit or assurance engagements, do not create exclusivity or dependency with a client, and do not impair auditor independence. Like some of the examples of permitted services, CA firms may advertise, digitally promote the following, some of them, like in the advertising or the consultancy area, in the management consultancy, business advisory, financial modeling and forecasting, risk management advisory, we can do it. In the taxation fields, non-audit clients, tax compliance, tax advisory and representations, international tax advisory, we can do it. Corporate and regulatory services like company law advisory, FEMA advisory, corporate restructuring, insolvency professional services. Also, technology and process support, accounting system implementation, digital transformation advisory, internal control advisory. These are the things where we can go for digital and push services. And also there are some other professional services like valuation services, due diligence, training, education, professional workshops. Now, what are the permitted modes of promotion? Permitted modes are farm website, social media, digital brochures, push notification like emails, professional announcements, and thought leadership. But there are some mandatory safeguards which we need to follow. What are that? Independent safeguard. No promotions of prohibited services to audit or listed audit clients. Clear separation between audit and non-audit engagements. Compliance with stricter norms for listed entities. Non-solicitation safeguards also we have to follow. No direct inducement or personal solicitation. No comparison with other CA firms. No assurance of outcomes or success. And then we have to maintain transparency and truthfulness. Information must be factually correct, verifiable, not misleading. Clear disclosure of firm structure and responsibility should be there. And dignity of the profession should be we have to maintain always. No sensational claims, no use of superlatives like we are the best, we are the cheapest, we guarantee this. No, we cannot do that. No testimonials that compromise professional decorum. And also we have to maintain nuclear and public interest safeguards, like promotion should not encourage regulatory arbitrage, and dilute the public interest responsibility. Members must remain compliant with the NOCLER obligations. So, and what are still not allowed? Promotion of statutory audit service, exclusive or success-based service management, misleading global branding, client solicitation disguised as advertising, any promotion impairing independence. These are still not permitted. Okay. Now we go to the next point, which we have client solicitation. In the old one, it was strict prohibition on solicitation, and in the new one, continues to be prohibited. Distinction clearly drawn between advertising versus solicitation. There is a clear distinction. And now, non-audit service promotion, there was very limited visibility. Now we have explicitly permitted promotion of non-exclusive services. Okay. Auditor independence, overall, what was there? Strong but largely domestic focused. Now we have stricter and more granular independence requirements. I will come to it again. Independence where listed entities are concerned, there we had limited differentiation from other entities. The norms were like that, but now it is enhanced independence norms for listed entities, including stronger safeguards. Now, provision for non-assurance services to the audit clients, what was there? Permitted with certain restrictions, but now it is more restrictive, especially for listed entities. Then there was, what about the long association or the familiarity threat? In the old one, it was addressed, but it was not so, it was limited. Now it is, there was strengthened it by rotation and cooling of concept. There is a rotation of the audit and cooling of concept they have brought. What is it? I will go for a little more in it. Okay, auditor rotation. Now, auditor rotation, what do we have here? Auditor rotation means what? The same firm or the key audit partners cannot audit the same client indefinitely. After a prescribed period, they must be rotated out. Why? Why do we need auditor rotation? Because there is a familiarity threat, reduced professional skepticism, perceived loss of independence. There may be. Now, what is a cooling off period? A cooling off period is a mandatory break after rotation. During this period, the outgoing auditor or the partner cannot participate in or influence the audit of that client. What is strengthened in the 13th edition? What is there? Greater focus on listed entities. Now, listed entities are what? Like they're treated where they have high public interest entities. It is more stricter rotation norms will be applied. Now, key audit partner rotation emphasized. Not only the firms, but key audit partner, the engaged partner also must rotate. This prevents, what does it prevent? Same face, different firm name situations. Now, longer and clearer cooling off period will be there. Outgoing audit partners cannot immediately return in any audit role, cannot influence audit decisions during cooling off, applies even through network firms or related entities. Now, also there are some restrictions on post-audit relationships. What are that? During cooling off, auditor cannot join the client in key management roles, provide service that creates self-review or familiarity threats, and especially strict for listed entities. Now, this is done so that our standards can be aligned with EISBA global standards. Indian rules now closely mirror ISBA rotation and cooling off requirements, enhances global acceptance of Indian audits. So now we can play on the global platform. Now, in the simple language, same auditor plus same client for too long, risk of independence. So ICI now requires timely rotation, mandatory break, no indirect influence during the break. So what do we get? A one-line summary that strengthened rotation and cooling off norms ensure that auditor do not develop long-term familiarity with the clients, thereby preserving independence, professional skepticism, and public confidence, especially for the listed entities. Okay, so now we come to the what we are going on saying NOCLER norms. So what are the NOCLER norms? Compliance with laws and regulations. Now in that, what was there? Now applicable but limited in scope in the old code of ethics, but now expanded NOCLER framework, especially for the listed entities. Now what is that? We need to discuss it a bit. Now what is NOCLER? It is that non-compliance with laws and regulations. Now, it refers to any act of omission or commission by the client or the employer, those charged with governance or the management. Any one of them, if there is any act of omission or commission by any of these persons. Now, this is contrary to the laws and regulations, including financial reporting laws, tax, SEBI, Companies Act, anti-fraud, anti-money laundering, corruption laws, environmental, labor, or any other regulatory laws. Now, what is expected from us as a practicing CA or a partner, or when we go for audit? We have to exercise professional skepticism, act promptly on suspect of any NOCLER, do not ignore management pressure, do not resign quietly without considering public interest, maintain proper documentation. Now, in simple language, if a CA becomes aware of a serious legal or regulatory non-compliance, especially in a listed company, he cannot look the other way. He must act, escalate, and protect public interest, even if it means reporting or withdrawing. So this is what they want to establish through this one. Okay, so now what is the responsibility in the public interest under NOCLER? In the old ethics, it was less explicit escalation guidance. Now here there will be clearer escalation, response, and documentation requirements. Now, next is that these codes are aligned, they are more aligned with the ISBA code. Now, what is it? What are the things that is more aligned, and what does it mean? That substantial alignment with the ISBA Code of Ethics means that ICAI Code of Ethics has been largely harmonized with the International Ethical Standard Board for Accounting Code, so that ethical requirements applicable to Indian CAs are broadly consistent with the globally accepted standards, while remaining limited Indian specific provisions. Staying in between the limit of the Indian standards, we have to be aligned with the global standards. What is ISBA code? The ISBA Code of Ethics is the global benchmark for ethical standards for professional accountants, issued by International Federation of Accountants and followed in most major jurisdictions worldwide. So what does substantial alignment means? Same ethical framework. ICAI now follows the ISBA conceptual framework approach. Require the CAs. What do we require now? Identify ethical threats, evaluate their significance, apply appropriate safeguards, rather than relying on rigid prohibitions. Now, what are the common fundamental principles behind this? Both codes are based on identical core principles of integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. Now, what are the convergence in key high-risk areas? What are the areas like auditor independence, ISBA equivalent safeguards and prohibitions are there? Listed entities, in the areas of listed entities, treated as public interest ethics. It is in the same, both the things. Non-assurance in the non-assurance services, similar restrictions and safeguards are there. Long association, in the long association scenario, comparable rotation and cooling off concepts are being introduced. In the NOCLER area, expanded duties consistent with the global norms. And in the conflict of area, in that case, same identification and mitigation approach. So Global consistency in the interpretation, what is there? Ethical judgment made by Indian CAs are now recognizable and acceptable internationally. Reduces difference between Indian and overseas ethical expectations, facilitates cross-border audits and multinational engagements. So limited, and what are the limited India specific additions? What are those? Substantial alignment means ICAI remains provisions required under the Chartered Accountants Act 1949 that we have to follow. Indian regulatory environment, the SEBI, the Companies Act, and all the other acts are there that we cannot go beyond that. We have to follow that. And where Indian law is stricter, Indian provisions will prevail. Now, why this alignment matters? Why are suddenly we are being aligned to the ISBA? Because enhances global credibility of Indian CAs, enables Indian firms to join and operate international networks, reduces compliance friction in cross-border engagements, and also positions ICAI as a globally respected standard setter. So in the simple language, what we can say, an Indian CA following the ICAI Code of Ethics is now broadly following the same ethical standard as a professional accountant anywhere in the world. Okay, so ISBA now what is in the case of global acceptability in the old Code of Ethics, ambiguity and conservative interpretation was there about our global acceptability, but now we are going into more high global acceptability, facilitating cross-border practices. Now so about the global networking of the firms, there is some changes there. Now in the older one, there was some it was there also, some ambiguity was there, some conservative interpretation was there, but now we have specific guidelines for global networking, branding and disclosures. Now what do we now have? What are the specific guidelines and what are these about the global networking? Now for the global networking refers to what? Association or affiliation of Indian CA firms with international accounting networks, global alliances or associations, sharing the brand name, methodologies, knowledge resources, referral arrangements. But it does not automatically mean partnership or the profit sharing. It can be there, but it is not directly means that. Now, why there were specific guidelines needed? Why do we need specific guidelines? Now, earlier, what was there? There was some ambiguity and conservative interpretation, risk of misleading claims of global firm or like that. But now ICAI provides clear rules to ensure transparency, accountability, public confidence. Now, what are the key elements of this guideline? Branding, what are the branding guidelines? What is permitted? Use of global network names along with Indian firm's own name, co-branding, subject to clarity and accuracy. What are not permitted? Portraying Indian firm as a single global partnership, legally responsible for actions of foreign member firms. That is still not permitted. Now, what are the mandatory disclosures? Now, the mandatory disclosures of CA firms, clearly we have to disclose legal status of the Indian firm, nature of association with the global network, absence of profit sharing if applicable, if it is applicable, common ownership or control if it is applicable. Now, this disclosure must appear on the firm website, letterheads, digital platform, wherever the branding is used. We have to disclose these things properly. Now, what are the independence and the responsibility safeguard? Each firm remains independently responsible for its professional work, liable of its own engagements. Global affiliation must not impair auditor independence, especially for listed entities. And there should be no misleading global claims like what is prohibited? Statements suggesting one global firm, worldwide audit responsibility, guaranteed international coverage. These sort of claims should not be there. Now, about the referral and networking arrangements, what are allowed? referrals within the network provided client consent is obtained, confidentiality is preserved, no fee sharing with the non-members unless it is permitted by the law. And what this means in practice, like some example, if we give, suppose an ABC company, charter accountant is an independent Indian firm and a member of XYZ International, a global association of independent accounting firm. What is not acceptable? ABC company is part of XYZ Global LLP with offices in 100 countries. We cannot say that. We don't have offices. ABC company does not have offices in 100 countries. So we cannot claim that. So in simple language, Indian CA firms may use global networks and brands, but must clearly tell the public with the relation, what the relationship really is and what it is not. Okay, so now we have about the use of the firm or the network name. In the old code of ethics, it was highly restrictive and it was very unclear. But in the new code of ethics, it is permitted with transparency, responsibility, and non-misleading disclosures. Now, branding and positioning, about that, what is there? In the old code of ethics, there was minimum branding allowed. Branding was not allowed at all. But now we have some controlled professional branding. It is permitted to us. Controlled, though it is controlled, but it is permitted. And also, what are the objectives of the code of ethics? The old one was protection of dignity through restriction. And now it is balancing dignity with competitiveness, transparency, and growth. That is the main difference. It was protection of dignity through restrictions, but now balancing the dignity with competitiveness, transparency, and growth. So these are mainly what they are wanting to bring in with the changes in the code. So the overall impact that it wants, like it is, shift the ICI ethic framework from visibility restricted to ethically visible. Now we are visible, we are ethically visible. We can compete globally. They are enabling the CA firms to compete globally, enhance public trust through stronger independence and nuclear norms, and also brings Indian ethics standards substantially in line with global best practices. So our institute wants us to be to our presence felt in the global market, our skills to be globally exposed, keeping our ethics standards intact. And we are grateful for that. We have to take, and also there are some changes, like the AI course that institute is giving with the equipment of the AI and the forensic audit and everything. That is also a change in that sectors. We are more equipped for these changes. We should accept them in our audits, and so that we are more capable in doing our functions as an auditor, and incorporate all this code of ethics in our professional field. So this is what I think I had. We can, if anything more can be discussed, Chimpuji, you can take up some questions of anything. Mainly these are
पार्टिसिपेशन से पूछ लेते हैं, उनका कोई क्वेश्चन क्वेरी कुछ है तो.
हाँ कुछ है अगर. Though these are all still now it is in a recommendatory in nature, because it has not it will be coming in effect from 1st of April. So after that we will have the new rules in our hands as our so that we can follow them.
Is there any question from participation? Please write in the chat box.
This is what I feel. These fields should be a bit elaborated about the networking and all those nuclear norms.
अभी तक तो कोई नहीं है क्वेरी.
हाँ,
किसी ने कुछ लिखा नहीं है. Is there any question from participation?
Anything if anyone wants, or else then we can.
अगर आप कुछ और बोलना चाहते तो बोल सकते हैं 5-7 मिनट 10 मिनट.
हाँ जी. वैसे तो ये वाले जो whatever changes are being done, we have discussed it, and हाँ, ये इसे it's a comprehensive thing. और बाकी तो हमारे पास जब आएगा जो कोड ऑफ एथिक्स का नया वो, तब then we have more things to discuss. Mainly these changes are being there.
I think no question from participation.
हाँ.
So we can conclude our session.
Then if
now wait कर 1-2 मिनट, कोई
1-2 मिनट वेट कर लेते हैं, then we can.
Thank you Shruti Goenka ji, thank you Shravani Bhattacharya ji.
Thank you so much. If there is any other, if you want, if आप अगर कुछ इसमें और कुछ बोलना चाहते हैं.
ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं, आपने बोला ही एथिक्स के बारे में, बाकी एथिक्स तो अपने ठीक है, जब तक पूरा डिटेल नहीं आएगा एक बन के,
नहीं आएगा एग्जैक्टली. हाँ,
तब तक ये डिस्कशन का ही पार्ट रहेगा, कंक्लूड कुछ नहीं कर सकते अपने.
करेक्ट वही बात है.
तो श्रुति गोयंका जी, आप आए, आपका स्पेशल एड्रेस के लिए आपको धन्यवाद. आपने काफी कुछ हाईलाइट किया. थैंक यू श्रावणी भट्टाचार्य जी.
थैंक यू.
एथिक्स के बारे में बताने के लिए, जो नए चेंजेस आने वाले हैं उसमें अपने क्या कर सकते हैं, अपने लिए क्या अलाउबल है, क्या नहीं कर सकते, क्या करने से अपने साथ क्या पनिशमेंट हो सकता है, एथिकली क्या गलत है, अपने कैसे ग्लोबली आगे बढ़ सकते हैं, क्या एडवर्टाइजमेंट पॉलिसी को एक्सेप्ट कर सकते हैं, आपने बताया. और आज का टॉपिक भी था उससे रिलेटेड कि भाई जो चेंजेस है कोड ऑफ एथिक्स में, सिर्फ उसी के बारे में अपने डिस्कस करेंगे. एंड थैंक यू पार्टिसिपेशन फॉर पेशेंट हियरिंग एंड ज्वाइनिंग टुडेज सेशन.
And thank you our chairman for giving us this opportunity also.
Exactly.
That in an informal way we can discuss these things. So that is why we are getting some.
Without our chairman, we can't think about it.
Exactly.
उन्हीं का इनिशिएशन से ये सब सारा स्टार्ट हुआ है.
हाँ.
काफी लोगों को बोलने का मौका मिला है.
हाँ जी.
So thank you, and we conclude our sessions today.
Thank you so
much.
Thank
you participation for patient hearing.
Okay.
Thank you Shruti ji.
Thank you
Shruti ji.
Thank you Shravani ji, thank you Shimpulal ji, thank you so much.
Thank you Vishnu भैया.
हाँ, विष्णु भैया शायद नेक्स्ट मीटिंग के लिए तैयार हो रहे हैं. ओके, थैंक यू ऑल. थैंक यू फॉर योर पेशेंट हियरिंग, एंड ऑल्सो थैंक यू EIRC फॉर गिविंग दिस platform for us to speak. Okay. Very good evening.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. Bye bye.
Can now leave apna.